So what is it about the way that we perceive that stops us from knowing? What's keeping us in the dark? Okay, let's start out here. This is the whole of reality. What we think of as other dimensions, non-material potential. Everything that's hidden from us, our future, what we want to feel but can't, what we want to know but don't know yet. For some reason, we have no sense of this. So to us, it's as though it doesn't exist at all. And what is all of this? Unlimited pleasure, unbounded existence, complete perception, and connection with the force that builds and guides the material universe, where we are.
We're in a box.
This
a body box.
is us, a closed box with 5 little openings to what surrounds us. And even though we have these 5 senses to tell us what's real and to guide us, none of them works in a way capable of sensing anything that's out here for what it actually is.
The problem is, this is where we all really live.
Yet we only experience what you find in there. And what you find in there is limited perception, isolation, fleeting pleasures, and all kinds of problems that cause suffering.
Why don't we experience what's out here?
Instead of what's in here. When something from the total of reality comes calling, we think we know what it is. But we never get the thing itself. It never actually enters the box, because the senses aren't really openings. What's outside the box hits some kind of resistance, a screen, a barrier, like an eardrum, or a retina, a taste bud, or a nerve that interprets what's outside, and then gives it an identity and a meaning, according to the effect that this unknown thing might have on the box. But the interpretation that the sensor gives us is entirely limited to the way it's programmed. The program doesn't tell us what the outer objective reality actually is. It reduces it, turning it into something else according to its rules. And all of our senses run on the exact same program. So, whether your eye uses an electron microscope or the Hubble Space Telescope, what you'll ultimately see will always be a subjective picture, determined and controlled by the program. So what exactly is the program? It's called egoism, self-concern. How does this affect me? What do I get out of this? In other words, the will to receive. The box is a machine. The input, a formless unknown that gets processed through an inner program. And the output of the machine is our reality. But this isn't real reality. It's just the way it appears to the will to receive.
Because out here, everything operates according to a different, all-encompassing program that only creates, sustains, and guides.
It has absolutely no self-concern, so it has no limitations. It is unconditional altruism, the general law of the universe, the single benevolent force behind all nature and existence. It's the thing that gives you your life. This is the complete polar opposite of the box. It's like comparing the Big Bang to a black hole. It is so unlike the reason behind everything we feel, want, and do, that as long as we measure life through the 5 senses and the will to receive, we will never know our true nature, the nature of reality, or the purpose of our lives. The end. You don't really think that this is the end, do you? Because that would mean that life was designed to be cruel and senseless. And even though it sometimes feels that way, like right now, there's a point inside you that's sure that there's a way out of this narrow existence.
That map, that
and there
blueprint.
is. But it all depends on how you desire. When the need to get out of the box finally becomes strong enough, a different kind of desire appears as a tiny point in your consciousness. And the only thing that it wants is to be directly connected with the program outside the box. Once this point of desire is awakened, if you know how to develop it, it can grow to become the basis of a completely new, non-physical sense that can perceive the greater reality, and even the thought of a force behind it. How can that happen? It can happen because there's a principle of non-physical nature called equivalence of form. In the physical world, you can take two things that are very different in form and quality, and you can put them near each other in space and say they're close. But out here, there is no time, no space. And there are no separate objects like there are in the physical. Out here, there are only forces, fields of influence, varying levels of bestowal that resemble the thought behind the general law of the universe. In the non-physical, if things have different qualities, they're distant. If they have similar qualities, they're close. But if they have exactly the same quality, feeling, and purpose, then they are in fact the same thing. They're inseparable, bonded.
So this opposite egoistic quality of the five senses
Blocks our perception, gives us the experience of separation, isolation, and constant lack. That embryonic point in your heart is unconsciously similar in quality and feeling to the unseen world. It's intimately connected and interwoven with it. And the stronger your desire to transform your inner program to be like the outer one, the closer it brings you to know and enter it, and to see that everything in your life, every desire, every joy, every disappointment, is really the general law of the universe guiding reality to develop and awaken you to consciously come into balance with it, so that you can receive what it most wants to give you. The ability to be just like it, so that what it feels, you feel, what it knows, you know, and what it can do, you can do.
Okay. Again. Now that particular author, he's Jewish, and he's calling this enlightenment, or this heightened state of awareness, Kabbalah. Okay? So again, we're trying to get out of the box, okay? All right, so let's take a look at the multi-dimensional self. I'm trying to show some depictions of how do we move into these higher states of energy. We're not going into techniques or anything tonight. We're just trying to get some sort of comprehension of it and what it means. So this particular page that's posted up here, it came from a book called Vibrational Medicine. It's by Dr. Richard Gerber. And they've been looking at the higher forms of self in terms of the scientific aspects of it. And in medicine, again, like the slide before, he was talking about things that are like they're all together. So there's something drawing people together. You know, again, it's consciousness. So if you're on the same frequency, you wind up in the same places, near each other, you know, doing the same things. Okay? So let's look at it. I'm going to read this very briefly. It says, it's shown in this diagram here. Looking at this diagram, all of these are dimensions of energy of the self. This is not, we're not just this body, but we have all this energy around us, which is higher stages of the self, higher dimensions of the self. And I want you to understand that these higher dimensions overlap. They're in the body, but it's just that the body has to go through stages to be turned back to connecting, so that the flow is cyclic, I want to say. You know, you got to be able to feed from the bottom to the top, and from the top to the bottom. Right now, as it is, the top is overlooking the bottom, but the bottom isn't connecting, so the bottom is kind of stumbling around in the box, not getting the full picture, okay? But it's happening. Again, that spiral force. We have to push on in life and continue to spiral up into ascent. That's our purpose. We went through these experiences for the purpose, for their purpose, to help us to ascend. Okay. So it says, as shown in the diagram, we see the full energetic expression of the multi-dimensional being. Although perhaps not all of these higher bodies are photographable, it is quite likely that the etheric, which is right next to the physical body, the etheric body, the etheric and possibly the astral body. This is the body that people say moves out and flies and does all that when you're in the dream state. It comes out of the body. That's you coming out of the body. Okay? And traveling wherever you want to go, whatever comes into your thought. No time and space. Okay? So it says these are possibly, the astral may be captured and measured with sophisticated imaging systems such as the EMR scanner. The EMR scanner is called the electromagnetic record scanner. So again, you can see why are they calling it a record? Because we're omnipresent. Everything that we've always done all throughout the creation itself is still here. The records are not gone anywhere. Everywhere that you've ever been, you're still there. The record is there. The energy signature is there. The experience is there. But we're limited. We cannot, perceive this at this time. So they have the electromagnetic record scanner. The purpose of this chapter in this book, Vibrational Medicine, what are they doing? It's been to focus on what is known through various channels of information about our extended energetic framework. Those with a more physical sensory orientation might ask, this is a 3D person, what is the purpose of having all these energy bodies when all that seems to matter is the physical body? Is that all that matters? You say the etheric body appears to at least have some physiological rationale in complementing the structure and function of the physical body. So as we look at this multi-dimensional self, this etheric body, which is this energy field around the body, science is being able to photograph it and see when it goes out of sync, when it goes into disarray, when it loses its order. That's a sign that the physical body is about to have an illness. Actually, illness begins in this higher stage of energy of the self before it begins to be recognized in the physical body. And they use what they call Kirlian photography to actually take a picture of this energy body around a person. You can see the difference in a healthy individual and someone who is sick. Okay? That energy field is very distorted. Let's continue here. When we begin to get into the astral body, that's the next phase, the next level, next dimension. The astral body and higher levels, we move into regions of consciousness that are more difficult to perceive and understand. There is a model which does make sense of this interconnecting energy body and explains why we have evolved as an intricate part of our personality and our physical expression. So again, it's even our thoughts and emotions, our personality is connected to what we're experiencing in our physical body. Okay? I just want to know, is everyone okay? And is the information flowing? Okay. Okay, now this is another author, James Bomar. He has a small pamphlet called The Path of the Real Adept. And he's just trying to, again, give an explanation of the multidimensional self, how the higher self is always there with you. But when you're really connected to the higher self, you become what's called adept, because you have a connection to all things. You understand all things. You understand your purpose and so forth. So he says, our entire existence is being conducted across several dimensions and planes. Many are so much higher than the one we are on now. This should always serve to assist us when we feel alone, to understand. And he said it's all within, so you understand that you are not alone. And everything is going as it needs to in your life, which is constantly being watched over. Who is it being watched over? It's being watched over by your higher self, your God self, trying to direct you. Okay? Okay, you're encouraged to fully participate by obtaining total consciousness and awake from the subtle stages of sleep. When you show that you are responsible, that's when you become adept. Without delay, you will be given great talents. You have some powers that you didn't know you had. You see things you didn't see. You can see energies. You know, you get more frames per minute, more frames per second in your eyes. You know, you got to heal. You got to take care of this spaceship that you're riding around in, and it'll take you some more places, some higher places. This is the path of the adept. He's saying this is how you get there. Start waking up from the sleep. Take care of your vehicle. There's no such thing as a wrong choice, because even choices that may appear incorrect always serve to show you the correct way in contrast. Some lessons, once learned, need not be repeated over and over. You can learn that fire burns, and you learn how carefully it must be handled.
That's right.
Okay, this is also still the same author. He's talking about how we externalized our whole self and divided it and became polarized into, you know, the whole creation being masculine and feminine. But really this energy was once harmonized and played an orchestra, a beautiful orchestration of tones and vibrations together. But we wanted to experience it. We wanted to take it apart, which you said, we wanted to unpack it and make it physical so we could experience the feminine and the masculine separated. But the problem was they couldn't understand each other, and they went to war. The war got bigger and bigger, and it became countries, you know, and it became war traditions and all those kind of things. But again, we wanted the experience, so we unpacked ourselves. You know, a lot of it. So he's saying, he's looking at this etymology of the word androgen. Andro is male, and gyne is female. He said, we find Adam as an androgen who through some technique of occurrence externalizes its feminine and masculine counterparts as pairs. So those of us, people would say, and I know a couple of people I know, Nice, Ria, listen to Ben David, they were saying, okay, it said Ha-Adam. So the Ha-Adam was actually the creation with the energies very, very harmonized. But these energies externalized and split and came into an experience. Okay, so really only one reason why a being would do something of this nature. It wanted to unpack all the myriads of existence that are generally compressed into an atom and bring them out into an external world in which they could be realized once again. Have you ever wanted to see all the things that your soul contains? Have you ever wanted to recall your entire life in front of you so that you could do it like a movie, lest you forget it all, since it's so expansive? So there's so much. We've been going on this journey. We've been experiencing the self, unpacking the self, living through experiences, finding what we didn't like and what we really want. And we've also shared these experiences with our ancestors, because that's still a part of the self. Okay? Our children, they're another version of us, going through another experience. Okay? All right, next slide. Okay. So here, he's still talking about the splitting of this atom, or the splitting of the Adam. Okay? And experiencing itself. He said, I find that our gesture to split the atom is like this. There was untold energy and potential. It was all inside that little atom. And as always, the hint of danger looms with all this energy. However, since the original being had little, if any, fear, today we have a lot of fear, don't we? And fear didn't always exist. You know, we went into this experience and then got afraid. Said this did not prevent it from externalizing its then eternal womb. And what is a womb? And why do we have woman? Woman, that's the feminine version. That's the externalized version of that which nurtures and creates. Where's the baby nurtured and taken care of? In the womb, the feminine part. So again, we're showing that both the feminine and the masculine are being exposed to us on another level. So again, woman was then brought out with the ability to bring compressed life into an external world after it had been shaped and formed properly. The womb shapes, forms, and cultivates the seed of man so it can live in another environment since it begins as a semen. This is also what Earth is doing now. She is preparing us. I have no doubt that Earth is preparing us, and the words were for our next level of expansion. So the Earth is like a womb. We're here in this womb, cultivating, going through an experience, getting ready for the next phase. We created this, okay? Next. Okay, so again, we're trying to look at the multi-dimensional self again, so we can get an idea of what's inside of us and how is it activated and what is it doing with the organs and what is it doing with the energy inside of our body when we activate or go into these higher states of energy and higher states of consciousness. This particular image, it shows the energy vortexes in the body, which are called the chakras. And these are 7 levels that have been noted throughout over time to connect to the consciousness. So the first level, you see the 3, when we talk about 3D, these are the 3-dimensional levels that we kind of focus in, where there's an energy and a consciousness within the body. And the first level is just being secure, being grounded, having your feet in place, and surviving. That's not a lot, it's just existing pretty much. The next level of the self is nurturing, and it's the emotions and emotional healing, and it's actually your sexuality. So it's how you feel about things, your expression within. There's an inner guidance. It doesn't make you feel good, doesn't make you feel bad. Also, your sexuality, your ability to create what you're about into another body. Okay? Just want to say we're always creating. So the energy signatures that we're putting out and we come together, we're creating, we're putting thoughts out there, and they can be picked up. Okay, so the third level is our mental development. That's what's called the solar plexus, and this is the 3rd chakra. And this is pretty much where we've been dwelling for the last so many thousand years. Here, the next area of our development is what we call love and joy. And this is another level of understanding and accepting all the creation and having appreciation for it as yourself. The 6th chakra is the throat chakra, which is the expression of this love and joy and this knowledge, expression of the heart. We get up to the higher level. Again, you can see all of these are connected to these energy fields that are around the body. Here, this 1st chakra is the body. The 2nd chakra would be the etheric body. Okay, the etheric energy body. Okay, but I'm going back to this 6th level here, which is what they call the 3rd eye. It's your 6th chakra, and it's about unity, and it's integration of our brain. And we use this word integration of the brain because we've been in this externalized world and experiencing the division on all different kinds of levels. As above, so below. Since this is happening throughout all of the cosmos and happening on the earth, we find ourselves divided even in our brain. It's not only do we use only 10% of our brain, we only use basically one hemisphere, which is the left hemisphere. This left hemisphere is considered the masculine portion of our brain, and it's basically logic and reasoning, and that's what we can comprehend at this time. But if we get into an active energy and a consciousness and a raising of consciousness through our diet, through our spiritual practices, we will begin to activate these energy fields to the point where we begin to unify. The bridge that has been burned out between the left and right hemisphere will come together, and we'll have more of that right brain activity. The right brain is our more intuitive self. It's that knowing. You know, we can't relate to how do you know something? How do you just know it? We got to get there. We got to get to that knowing. So I personally think that another practice to help you kind of integrate both sides of the brain is to start doing things in an ambidextrous way. Most of us probably know there's a crossover. There's a crossover between how the brain operates the body. The left hemisphere operates the right side of the body, and the right hemisphere operates the left. So you can see we live in a left brain world because how many people in here are left-handed? Any more? I see it's one person in here that's left-handed. So obviously that person is using more of their right brain. They got a little more activity going on. You know, a little more integration between the left and the right side. So let's try to integrate. Start trying to do some things with your left side so that you can use the right brain more. Okay. Also, when we finally get to what they call the crown chakra, okay, this is what connects us to everything. Connection to the universe, connection to that reality that we're missing out on because of the limitedness of the physical body, the box, okay, with the 5 senses, the 5 limited senses. Again, I want to explain that when all of this is activated, it's said that you have a third eye, you have a third ear. The third eye gives you more frames per second. You can see things that you couldn't see. You could see beyond the speed of light. Right now, we only see below the speed of light. So you know we're limited. We can't see what's really going on. You can see energies. You can see when someone's coming to take energy from you. You can see auras. You can also, with the third ear, you can hear shapes. Shapes even make a sound. Okay, so you're like, oh, wow, I don't think I want to do that. But there's a purpose. There's a purpose and there's a need. Okay? All right, next slide. Okay, again, I'm going to let him explain how, this is a cartoon character, but he's going to try to explain how these energy levels and this awareness is affecting the physical body, how it affects the blood, how it affects the body fluids. Because each and every level of activation is actually connected to an endocrine gland in the body where the hormones are secreted. So when the activation becomes stronger, then that means there's more concentrated fluids and cells within the body. So you become more able, you have more ability because the levels of the hormones in the body have changed when you activate or ascend.
As I mentioned before, each chakra is connected to an organ or gland, which governs over a section of the body. The order of the chakra